If you could just remind everyone that when they join this meeting, it's being live streamed. It's a little bit after 1:30 and we're still missing some people. And everyone is muted.
I believe our President Ellis is on. We're just waiting for Darius and Marisa.
There's Marisa. There's Darius.
All right.
We're live streaming and the recording is about to start.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Petros Hyla. I'm the Deputy Chief City Auditor, and I'll be placing in for Dorsey, our Chief City Auditor. Today is Tuesday, October 6th, and it is roughly 1:32 p.m. we'll go ahead and jump. Oh, actually, let me introduce the rest of the board. We have our city treasurer, Darshan Farhan. We have our budget director, Michael Wheeler. We have our corporation counsel, Marissa Franchini. And we have our common council president, Corey Ellis. We have a good sized agenda today, roughly 7 budget requests and 2 increased appropriations. So we'll jump right in. Our Department of General Services is requesting to transfer $13,000 from their supplies and materials account into their contracted services account. And the purpose of this is to cover invoices in excess of the budget. Our next request is coming from the police department, seeking to transfer roughly $411,000 from their salaries line into 4 separate overtime accounts. The first overtime account will be receiving $25,000. Second overtime account receiving $14,000. Third account receiving $265,000. And the last one receiving $107,000 to equal that $411,000. And this is to cover overtime costs. Second request is also from the police department, seeking to transfer $791,000 from their salaries line into 4 separate overtime accounts. The first account is receiving $59,000. Second account is receiving $391,000. Third account is receiving $281,000. And the fourth account is receiving $60,000. And when I send this, after we're done with this meeting, I'll go ahead and specify that fourth overtime account for the group. The purpose of this transfer is, once again, to cover overtime costs. Our third request is from.
Can I have a question on the overtime? I see some I just want to make sure it says the $265,000. It says over to criminal. I'm reading inventory. I don't know what that or investigation.
Yeah, correct. It's criminal investigation unit.
Okay, and the overtime for forensic investigation.
Correct.
Okay, and that's a unit.
I believe so.
Not a some type of like special, you know what I mean? Like it's a unit, correct? Criminal investigation unit.
I believe, but let's see, Michael, I see you just unmuted yourself.
Yeah, those are units within
Gotcha.
departments. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, of course. Thank you for the question. So going back, our fourth request is from the police department, seeking to transfer $169,000 from their salaries line into an overtime account. And this is to cover overtime costs.
Now, why do overtime cost out like station? Like it's a center station.
The way that police is set up in the ERP system breaks everything down to these sub departments. So when we do the transactions for police during the course of the year, they go through this level of detail. Whereas when you see it in the budget book, it all rolls up to kind of a central department. But in the actual system itself, everything is broken out to these very specific sub departments.
So my question is, I guess then, so that $391,000 that says overtime in center station, is that overtime for police officers who work in center station?
Yeah, so it would be for overtime that occurs within that center station.
Okay. And so then what is this separate one that says overtime, $60,000? It doesn't have a direct link to anything like the others.
Yep. President Ellis, what I'll do is after this meeting, I'll go ahead and not just summarize them, but I'll go ahead and put the full name. So this overtime, there is a specific account associated with it or a certain station, but I left it out for this last one, but I'll go ahead and adjust that. And then if there's no more questions regarding those, I'll go to the law department, seeking to transfer $5,000, $3,000 from their miscellaneous account, $2,000 from their other equipment. They'll be going into their fees and services and their supplies and materials account. And I believe Marisa just joined, and this was just to cover costs, but Marisa, feel free to jump in and add additional detail if you like.
Yeah, it's just increased litigation costs, things like process serving, transcription. There's just been a lot of litigation, so we need to transfer some money.
Thank you. And then we have another request from the police department seeking to transfer $25 or $25,000 from their contracted services account into their office equipment. And this is to continue the department's multi-year PC replacement program as it becomes necessary to update devices for Windows compatibility. And our last budget transfer request is from budget/APD, seeking to transfer $100,000, $50,000 from their medical compensation, another $50,000 from their utilities to go into their compensation account. And this is to cover over budget 2020 workers' comp costs. And now we'll be going into our increased appropriation request. We have a request from Buildings and Regulatory Compliance seeking to increase their civilization demolition fee revenue account by $251,389. Also increase their expense account by that same dollar figure. And these monies are needed to pay contractors for outstanding emergency demolition civilizations as per the attached supporting documentation. And these costs will include contractors, engineering, and air monitoring. And our last request is from the water department, seeking to transfer, or not transfer, increase their revenue account, $500,000 in the New York State DEC grant account, and roughly a little over $6.7 million in their long-term control plan finance account. And they'll be increasing their expense account associated with their sewer rehabilitation for that full dollar amount. And this is to recognize the Water Quality Improvement Project grant program they received to fund Beaver Creek Clean River projects, phase 3 and 4, long-term financing with Environmental Facilities Corporation. I think Darius is speaking. Darius, did you have questions?
No.
Does anyone have any questions, concerns? All right, so is there a motion to move the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Darius. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Marisa. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Those opposed
Aye.
say nay. All right, the motion carries. The agenda has been approved. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Darius. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Kashana, I'm passing it over to you.
Hi, thank you, Petros. I'd like to call to order a meeting of the Board of Contract and Supply. Today is Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. Present, we have Michael Wheeler, Darius Scheinfar, Marisa Franchini, Randy Milano, and Frank Ciole. We have a rejection that is going to be re-advertised. So I'd like to make the motion to change the order of business in order to consider this rejection prior to our advertisements. So Do I need to second the motion? Somebody?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, Mr. Trudeau offered the following. Resolve that the bids received for the fencing and property access at 170 Henry Johnson Boulevard for the Albany Police Department received by the Board of Contract and Supply on Friday, September 11th, 2020 be rejected. The reason for the rejection is the bids received on September 11th, 2020 was significantly above the engineer's estimate and authorized budget and treasurer's approval for the funding of the project. The Department of General Services offered the following. Resolve that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for 74 HP stump grinder. Said proposals to be received by the board at a regular meeting to be held Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 at 1:30 p.m. The following two projects were offered on behalf of the Albany Border Board. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids for Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 3, Beaver Creek Diversion Tunnel, and the Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 4, 3rd Avenue Tunnel. For both the projects, said proposals to be received by the board at a regular meeting to be held Tuesday, November 17, 2020 at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Trudeau offered the following. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for fencing and property access at 170 Henry Johnson Boulevard for the Albany Police Department Communications Division. Said proposals to be received by the board at a regular meeting to be held Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 at 1:30. Mr. Milano offered the following. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for City of Albany maintenance contract for Quackenbush Square cooling tower testing and inspection. That proposals to be received by the board at a meeting to be held on October 20th, 2020 at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Trudeau offered the following. Resolved that the secretary be authorized and directed to advertise for bids for New Scotland Avenue roadway striping improvements. Said proposal to be received by the board at a regular meeting to be held Friday, October 20th, 2020 at 1:30. So we got a few openings, and the first opening is for All-Tech Equipment Parts, Preventive Maintenance and Repair from All-Tech Industries. I don't believe there was any deposit required for this.
No security.
Right. So for the normal shop rate, it was $134 an hour, $134 an hour. Normal fill rate, $136 an hour. Emergency shop rate, $134 an hour. Emergency field rate, $136 an hour. Mileage rate for mobilization, $136 per hour. And mileage rate for equipment transportations, $3.70 per mile. There's no discount for retail price off the price list. Next, we have an opening for Bobcat Equipment. There were no bid submissions. We have the fence construction, repair, and supply services. First, we have Fox Fencing. Definitely sealed this up pretty good. There was no security deposit required for this as well.
No.
There is
Because
list
Shauna, that might,
of
yeah,
items.
that might be a little difficult to read because it's very technical with the sizes and all.
Right, so I will add this to our final agenda for everyone to see, but there is a part for repairs and parts for the normal field labor rate for $65 an hour, the emergency field labor rate for $120 per hour, and 10% discount on parts from retail.
Okay.
And the next one we have is from Spitali or Spital Construction Resources. So it'll have the same format for it, so I will attach that, the bid document along with that. Oh, but we do have the repairs and parts for Spitali. It was Spital. Normal field rate is $98.73 per hour. Emergency field labor rate was $148 per hour and 0% discount on retail. So next we have Ingersoll. There were no bid submissions. These are my papers. There were no bid submissions for Ingersoll. We have McCloskey Equipment, Preventative Parts and Maintenance. The first one we have is Torma Crushing. Okay. All right, for their normal shop rate, $95 per hour, normal field rate, $120 per hour, emergency shop rate, $145 per hour, emergency field rate, $180 per hour, mileage rate for mobilization, $2 per mile, mileage rate for equipment transportation, $3.25 per mile, 5% discount on retail list price. Next, we have Wham Beers, Inc. So their normal shop rate at $105 per hour, the normal field rate $130 per hour, emergency shop rate $162.50 per hour, emergency field rate $175 per hour, mileage rate for mobilization 56 cents per mile, mileage rate for equipment transportation $3.25 per mile, and a 4.5% discount from retail price list. Righty, and next we have street sweeping services from Canaday Sweepers, Inc. Right. Monthly service fee for routine services, $4,725.00. And the non-routine hourly rate is $150 per hour. Contract extension number 1, 0% increase. Contract extension number 2, 3% increase. Not to exceed 3%. And the last one is the truck scale, parts, preventative maintenance, and repair. And that's Scale Service and Supply Co. Inc. Okay. Normal shop rate, $85 per hour. Normal fill rate, $85 per hour. Emergency shop rate, $127.50 per hour. Emergency fill rate, $127.50 per hour with 15% discount from retail list price. That concludes our openings. The following resolution was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the contract of the Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 1, 3rd Ave improvements be awarded to the lowest bidder, James H. Malloy. The following resolution was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the contract of the Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 2, South Plant Screening Upgrades, general contract be awarded to the lowest bidder, Jet Industries. And resolved that the contract for the Beaver Creek Clean River Project Phase 2, South Plant Screening Upgrades Electrical be awarded to the lowest bidder, Spring Electric. The following resolution was offered on behalf of the Albany Water Board. Resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes change order number 2 to the 2020 installation of CIPP liners contract with Kenyon Pipeline for a credit of $2,133.25. Final contract price is $584,116.75. Contract completion date is still September 1st, 2020. That concludes the agenda for the Board of Contract and Supply. Is there any discussion? May I get a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. May I get a motion to adjourn, everyone?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you all. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. You too.